is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path.
First reading. A reading from the first book of Samuel, chapter 4, verses 1 to 11. The Philistines gathered for an attack on Israel. Israel went out to engage them in battle and camped at Ebenezer, while the Philistines camped at Aphek. The Philistines then drew up in battle formation against Israel. After a fierce struggle, Israel was defeated by the Philistines, who slew about 4,000 men on the battlefield. When the troops retired to the camp, the elders of Israel said, "Why has the Lord permitted us to be defeated today by the Philistines? Let us fetch the ark of the Lord from Shiloh, that it may go into battle among us and save us from the grasp of our enemies." So the people sent to Shiloh and brought from there the ark of the Lord of hosts, who is enthroned upon the cherubim. The two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were with the ark of God. When the ark of the Lord arrived in the camp, all Israel shouted so loudly that the earth resounded. The Philistines, hearing the noise of shouting, asked, "What can this loud shouting in the camp of the Hebrews mean?" On learning that the ark of the Lord had come into the camp, the Philistines were frightened. They said, "Gods have come to their camp." They said also, "Woe to us! This has never happened before. Woe to us! Who can deliver us from the power of these mighty gods? These are the gods that struck the Egyptians with various plagues and with pestilence. Take courage and be manly, Philistines. Otherwise you will become slaves to the Hebrews, as they were your slaves. So fight manfully." The Philistines fought, and Israel was defeated. Every man fled to his own tent. It was a disastrous defeat, in which Israel lost 30,000 foot soldiers. The ark of God was captured, and Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, were among the dead. The word of the Lord.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Mark, chapter 1, verses 40 to 45. A leper came to him and kneeling down begged him and said, "If you wish, you can make me clean." Moved with pity, he stretched out his hand, touched the leper and said to him, "I do will it. Be made clean." The leprosy left him immediately, and he was made clean. Then, warning him sternly, he dismissed him at once. Then he said to him, "See that you tell no one anything, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer for your cleansing what Moses prescribed. That will be proof for them." The man went away and began to publicize the whole matter. He spread the report abroad, so that it was impossible for Jesus to enter a town openly. He remained outside in deserted places, and people kept coming to him from everywhere. The Gospel of the Lord.
My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, my dear children, and my dear young generation, today, Thursday, 13th of January, 2022. We are still in the first week, of course. The Gospel continues, the Gospel according to Mark, and we are still in chapter 1. And today we read from verses 40 to 45. Here, a man afflicted with a skin disease, a kind of leprosy, if we are to call, but some of the Gospels, they say a dreaded skin disease. But he is suffering from skin disease from which he cannot get healed. Most probably there is no opportunity. No one is capable. Here the man is there on the road. He encounters Jesus on the road. Let us now try to see what are the changes in this personality, in this character, the attitudes that are being, or that are rather coming out from this man. He kneels down. He begs Jesus, and he surrenders himself totally to Jesus. And he says, we see that, if you want, sir, you can clean me. You can clean me if you want. Here we find something very important in our Christian life. Total surrender to God's will. Total surrender to Jesus' will. Here in this way, when we read again this word, this sentence uttered by the skin-diseased person, if you want to, you can clean me. And it is a kind of act of total surrender. Surrendering means obedience. Obedience is that you don't exist. In surrendering, you don't exist. You give up totally yourself, your freedom, your liberty, and your desire. You allow the other one to take full control about yourself, control of your being, of your life. And you practically become nothing. And you don't exist. That is the beauty of a Christian life. To surrender totally, to obey and give oneself totally and surrender to God's mercy. Yes, Lord, if you want, you can clean me. And here it is always foundational that we have got to, in our faith, surrender ourselves to God's holy will. Because in the will of God, there is nothing evil, and there is no condemnation, and there is no punishment. There is only cleansing and cleaning, purifying and forgiving, saving and liberating.